All right, okay. And I'll let you guys know when we're live on the air. Let's see. It says we're live. I'm waiting.
Someone said hi.
Oh, okay, there we go. Hey, everybody, what's up there, fam? We're having a good old time behind the scenes. So I decided to go live, and we are going live on time as always. Y'all know how it works. So anyway, listen. Rafiq is having internet problems, and so he won't be able to join us today. You know what I should do? I should have alternates, like if any of us have internet problems, that we can have an alternate to join in, because I like it to be 6, but it's 5. That's fine. Look, that'd be less people interrupting PA.
I was definitely a bad offender of that.
I
apologize.
I felt so bad because Jupiter's like, stop interrupting her. Let her finish. I was like, oh man, we was doing that to her. Yeah. I am more mindful now.
Right. So, I was white knighting. But I
appreciate it. I did appreciate it, because we do have like aggressive type strong personalities and everything like that, and so she has a powerful voice, but it's easy for us to just speak over her, so I'm more mindful of it now. But anyway, so without further ado, let's go around and introduce ourselves. And so I'm going to let's start off with PA. Go ahead and take it away.
PA, political avenger. Have a YouTube channel. Talk about everything from spirituality to politics to news. Been doing it for 4 years. You can say I'm like an activist on Twitter. That's pretty much it.
Ha! Look who's joined us. Yay! Repeat.
Here.
My neighbor. Yeah, I'm here. CPT.
Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see, and go with Cats. Cats, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. This is our Catskay ? Because I don't know the answer. No one does. I'm a YouTuber. I do have a channel. I do a podcast, which you can see here, with my friend Jupiter. He's my bro man. Yeah, I'm just a gay dude in California that decided the Democrats suck, and trying to point out things as I see them, and yeah, happy to be here.
All right. And next on the list is Maurice. Maurice, go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's up, y'all? I'm Maurice Duck. I'm the nigga with the freckles. Y'all see me, and I have a YouTube channel, Maurice Duck, right there. I hate when people call me when I'm trying to. God damn it!
Cancel.
Damn. There's some drama right here. It's like, God damn it.
Oh my goodness, man.
But anyway, I lost my train of thought. Okay. I'm Maurice Duck, and I'm a conservative activist, and I keep it raw, and that's it. My platform is very open. I will have BLM if they want to come on. I have pro-blacks on there, which give me a headache on there, and my panel is very unique. All right, go ahead, y'all.
When is your panel? Go ahead and shout your panel out. When do you have it?
I have it almost every night, like 10 o'clock, especially at the Sunday Night Rumble, 16 only, and everybody come on and be screaming and crazy. So it's one of the crazy panels and stuff, man. And even conservatives get triggered, like, man, this is too much for me. I can handle this. You're not conservative enough. I said, bitch, get the fuck off the panel. Right? And that's it. We too raw over here, and that's it. I'm not your everyday politician. I'm not your everyday conservative. I'm not a MAGA bot. I'm gonna say it like that. A MAGA bot.
All right, cool. And Jupiter, go ahead and introduce yourself.
My name is Jupiter, and thank you, Maurice, for doing that for me, because my phone wasn't silenced, and you just reminded me. Thank you. My name is Jupiter. I do a YouTube, Twitter type thing, and my heterosexual life mate, who happens to be a not heterosexual down there in the corner. I do that with him, and I also sometimes want to be on Tree's joint, and I'm always happy to be here. And as you all know, I'm not being a douchebag. I just have scary eye right now, and so I'm doing my Ray Charles thing. That's why I actually had to skin my dog to get this nice ass coat.
No, what it is that I told you guys, Jupiter's girlfriend beat his ass because he didn't cook the dinner on time. And so he's trying to pretend that he's the pimp instead of being the hoe. That's why he's trying to look like a pimp right now.
I need to get my masculinity back. I told Tree, I said, what do you tell a Jupiter with two black eyes? Nothing. You told his ass already.
When will the violence end?
And last but not least, Rafiq. Go ahead, Rafiq. Introduce yourself. Rafiq, can you hear us?
Hello,
Okay.
world.
Okay, there you go.
My name is Rafiq. You could find me on Instagram and Twitter. Good.
All right.
Instagram and Twitter at rjennings333.
Okay, cool. Now, let's go ahead and get started with today's topic. And if we run out, I got another backup topic, but this is something hashtag Council Netflix has been trending for the last 4 days? And it's trending as we speak right now, where we have had a lot of the woke journalists are defending this movie, which this is so stupid, where you have a woman who a African woman who grew up in France, what's her racial back, what is her ethnicity, Signalese or
Pedophilese.
and she's saying that she got young girls real like at the age of 11 to portray the sexual exploitation that today's society have when you have two different cultures. Now, listen, we have to be very careful because remember, all of us had this one problem with our channels is that when we talked about the religion of peace, that's when we got in trouble, okay? Mm-hmm. So I want us to use code words whenever we're referring to the religion of peace, okay?
The religion of peace are pedophiles.
I like it. All right. So let's be mindful of that because we know we can talk about anything except for the religion of peace. And so when we saw the advertisement, because I did a video on this, when we saw the advertisement for Cuties, I looked at the trailer and the way they was having the girls arch their back and have their legs open and basically dance in a sexual way. People kept saying, well, have you seen the movie? Have you seen the movie? I said, why do I want to see a pedophile movie? I don't want to see that. I don't want to see a movie that's going to show girls in a sexually suggestive way. But recently, clips have come out from the actual movie, and oh my God, it's worse than we ever thought. And one clip that's still on YouTube right now, I don't know why that clip is allowed to be on, but that's when she fights her father and takes the phone and goes into the bathroom and takes a picture, and upload it onto the internet. And I was just dumbfounded. I was so dumbfounded that when they showed the clip of them dancing, I didn't even want to see no more. It was like I should have saw the dancing clip first before I saw that clip, the clip I saw originally first. And maybe I would have probably had the stomach to see the second one. But I started off with the hard clip first. I did not know that. And then I was like, okay, I can't deal with the tame clip, you know what I'm saying? So now you have these woke journalists who are defending the film, and you have everyone, the majority of people. Now, this is what I want to ask you all as you begin to share your opinion. Do you guys see the more people on the left being outraged, or is this a bipartisan? Is this a partisan thing? So anybody can jump in, but let's go ahead and start off with that. What do y'all think about that so far?
bipartisan. I'm seeing people online, especially on Twitter, they're like, this is not a fucking political issue. This is a fucking, like, these are kids. And anytime, even if someone gets out of line and tries to like be neutral about it, they get slammed by both sides. That's especially women, no matter if they're on the right or the left.
I'll be honest. I think it's bipartisan in the sense that if bipartisan you mean the elites, like the blue check journos and the critics, like it had like a 95, 96% critic score and a 5 or 6% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
What?
Yeah, but that says it all. Katz and I actually did an episode, believe it or not, just like 8 hours ago on this same topic, but it's true. Like, for you to have 95% of the critics being like, oh, it's a great critique on, and then 5% of people saying it's obvious that it is bipartisan in the sense that our ruling class are pedophiles. They allow this shit. It doesn't even make sense that you could have 95% of the critics saying something's good and 5% of the general population. It doesn't even make sense.
But to Tree's question about whether it's a partisan issue, I will say this. I think as far as people goes, it's, there's no party. Pretty much everyone who has even a shred of a soul thinks that this movie is disgusting and irredeemable. However, there is very much a partisan issue when it comes to woke journalists who are sort of reflexively defending it because they think, oh, conservative people are upset, children, black people of color talking about sexuality. Oh yeah, it's great. But what do those yokels know? Because either they haven't seen it or they like it.
Do you guys think the fact that
my question is,
go ahead, Rafiq. Go ahead.
The question I would ask those who praise the film, would they like daughters or any other like young girl relatives exposing themselves like that? That's what I would ask
these type of listen. Let me tell you something about pedos. They don't have children. They don't have children so that they can violate other people's children. I noticed these people on the left. Yeah, I noticed these people on the left who, especially on Twitch, the ones that says that 6 years old, when you're 6 years old, you can basically consent to sex. You're more knowledgeable about everything, including your gender, this, that, and the other. These are people who don't, first of all, these are mentally ill people who don't have children. So these are the ones who are promoting it, because I think when you have, even if you don't have children, I have 4 beautiful godchildren and I love them very much. I think if you have a disconnect with kids, you don't like kids, you don't want to have nothing to do with kids, you really don't, your heart is not in this place of protecting them. And I noticed that on the left.
To Rafiq's point though, that is, obviously the left has gone kind of heavy pedo over the years, but to Rafiq's point, it is true. Like people like Nancy Pelosi, they want open borders, they want everyone, to live in squalor, but believe me, her neighborhood will always have borders. She doesn't want you to have guns, but believe me, there are 2 men, big-ass men with 2 big-ass guns next to her at all times. So even the people promoting this movie that do have kids, to Rafiq's point, yeah, if you ever even approached them and said, hey, I want your 11-year-old daughter to twerk and her entire ass is going to show, and taking coochie pics in the bathroom, sending nudes at 11 years old. But more importantly, these people should be in jail. Do you know that they interviewed over 700 11-year-old girls?
I heard that.
Those parents should all be arrested.
Yes.
I kind of disagree with what you said there, Tree, regarding people that are into this or people that are approving of it don't have children. You would be surprised of how many parents are pedophiles.
Oh, really? Oh, you know what?
Child
You're right.
abuse, yeah.
Yeah. I stand corrected. You're right. I'm starting to think about the stories I have done where Well, shit. The most recent one with a father won custody of that little girl, Soph. Her mother allowed her boyfriend to violate her daughter. Okay, I stand corrected. Thank you. Yes.
There's a lot of parents that are selling their kids. They're pimping a lot. And if you go into the second and third world, it's very common.
Yeah.
In every family, it's very common in the third world.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have more respect for the filmmaker who did The Human Centipede than I do for this movie because, now mind you, The Human Centipede is probably the most actually disgusting movie as far as like a movie that's the whole point is just to make you sick on a physical level. Like I broke the DVD after I watched it because I said, I'm never going to watch this again. Nope, done. But even that I can respect more because I don't think anyone who made that movie who talked about that movie thought that they were doing something good.
Yeah,
I think that they thought I think that at least I can respect the fact that you set out to make the most shocking, disgusting thing ever that people watch literally just to see how shocking and disgusting it is. At least that's self-aware. But this Cuties or Mignonnes, whatever it's called in French, this is like I can't believe that. I think the worst thing about it is that there is this patina of like social justice, of like empowerment, when really what we're talking about is a softcore porn with children.
They have a Tom Cotton has now I don't think they're going to be able to get away. I hope they could, but I don't think so. Are thinking about putting the FBI to investigate Netflix right now to actually doing softcore child porn.
Well, Tree, Lila Rose, that chick who runs that anti-Planned Parenthood, anti-abortion, she actually brought it up. She proved dead to rights. The child pornography, the CP laws in this country, this violates two of them. Like,
does it really?
The statutes. I'm not going to go on the phone and bring it up, but yeah, you can do this. Her name's Lila Rose on Twitter. Yeah, she did. She proved it, dead to rights. They'll never get got. They got in the way they lost $8 billion in one day because everyone was like, well, I don't like seeing kids, being.
Did they really lose that much?
$8 billion. And it's funny. The Jew in me said to myself, wait a minute, Netflix dropped 4%. I'm going to buy. But then and the human being in me said, no, I'm not down with diddling kids. So.
I'm sorry to interrupt everyone, but can we talk about this super chat? Because that's a really good point. Like, if they interviewed 700 girls for this movie, that means that there are 700 test videos of these girls dancing. Let that sink in and tremble.
Yes.
That is a solid and disgusting point.
That's
yes.
And that's also 700, actually 1,400 parents, presumably, that allowed this.
Presumably, yeah.
That sold their child.
Between 700 and 1,400 people that need to be prosecuted for this.
I guess Mo, you're the one. I think Mo is the only one here who have kids, right?
Yeah. I got kids and grandkids.
So I guess you're really glad that you don't have to worry about your kids. Now your grandkids are different, but
yeah.
You don't have to worry about your children after having to be exposed to this type of level of perversion. Actually,
yeah, I'm so glad I ain't got to worry about that. It's like, Plus, I stick my foot in my kid's ass and make sure they didn't, talk to strangers and shit. So. One of those, but it's what, real talk, y'all. It's scary because I have grandkids, and man, I'm afraid for my grandkids, so I try to reach at least one or two of them because I can't keep all the motherfuckers. but this stuff is just so real. It's like they promote everything. Got to be all about sex to them. Everything got to be about sex to them. They teach anal sex. And like in 5th and 6th grade, kindergarten, there 15 different, stuff like that. It's like everything got to be about sex. Saying yes, everybody loves sex. People, not everybody, but people get their pleasures. But god damn, why can't it be about this?
Why do they have to bring it to the kids? Is what my thing is. To say why can't you just keep it to the adults?
Right.
My ex-girlfriend's kid in the actual book that was Meanwhile, this is an 8-year-old child. They had a game, like a book with a game on it, teaching you how to put a condom over a banana. Mo, if someone came up to your granddaughter, like your baby little granddaughter, and said, "Hey, I'm gonna give you a little money, Mo. Grandbaby got a twerk for us and for the world." What happens to that? What happens to that human?
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Catch the case. Just say you're catch a case.
Well, first off,
I will.
would a human actually say that though?
These
'Cause
aren't humans. They're
no,
demons.
pedophiles aren't human.
Yeah, that's true. They're not.
The problem everybody needs to understand, this is ancient stuff.
Yeah.
This is not all of a sudden 20th century or 20th, this goes way back. Remember, the practices of back then, pedophilia was out in the open in ancient times. Sleeping with young kids, 11, 10, 8, 9. I mean, child marriage is still practiced in most of the world. So this is not new. What's new is the technology, where everyone can see it in lifetime. That's what's new. The interconnected, the globalization through technology, where everybody can see everybody's everything. But back in ancient times, they practiced this stuff in the open. I mean, people were sleeping with kids all the time, and that's why it's coming back into the light. It went into hiding when people got more civilized. Now it's coming back up to light. So I mean, people, I'm just saying, like, a lot of people say, "Oh, this is brand new." It's like, no, it's not. The technology is new. The way we can see it lifetime, within like a few seconds is new. But this stuff has been practiced since ancient times.
I more or less agree with you, but there is one point that, and you can tell me if I misunderstood this, like what we call pedophilia now is probably different than child marriages back in the day. And I'm not saying that child marriages back in the day were good, but considering that the average human lifespan was only about 40 back in the day, what we call childhood is different now than what they would have referred to back then. Again, not saying that the practice was a good thing, but when people lived literally half or a third as long as we do now, it was a different kind of enterprise, as I understand it.
No, well, that's true because a lot of us wouldn't
Hold
know.
on, PA was talking. Now I get to take your job. PA was talking. Let her talk. Let PA talk.
It depends on what part of the world you lived in. Some people lived to 110 in ancient times. So to make that argument, it's like, okay, well, what part of, did you live in Asia? Did you live in Africa? Did you live in Europe, ancient Europe? Did you live in urbanized empires? It's where you live. You lived in the Americas. We don't know how long they lived. From my understanding, many cultures lived past their 90s to 100 and something in ancient times. So, and child marriage was at 9 years old in many cultures. So we're still talking about the same thing. Meaning you can marry somebody and rape them because it's not consent. Most of the time they were sold or given away to an individual because of whatever financials or because of status or because of class. I mean, it depends on where you were in the world at this time. And to me, it's the same thing. I don't see any difference. I just see that it went underground for a minute because people got more civilized, people felt more freedom or gained more freedom, right? So they were less tolerant of this activity. It went under, now it's coming back up.
I think you're both right, though. Here's the thing. Slavery back then was also widely accepted. Many people today, if given the chance, wouldn't own slaves because our norms and values are so much different. We understand the evils of it. The thing that makes modern day pedophilia so much more sinister and evil as older pedophilia, neither were good. They're both evil. But back then, it was the norm. Unfortunately, it was. But today, knowing what we know, it's so much more diabolical knowing what we know about the child brain. But like PA was saying, this is true. We just did an episode on how pedos run the world. It's not about gays, Jews, whites, blacks. Something about the ruling elite likes diddling kids. And like PA was saying, there's an ancient evil that's always here with us, lying beneath the surface, that this urge to violate the most innocent among us, this pedophilic urge, is always lying underneath the surface. And now they've, like a lot of people in the chat, like Lion Blues and Harmony and people like that were saying, we said earlier, Big Mouth, that cartoon about diddling kids, same thing. They ease you into it. They ease you into it, desensitize you to it, and normalize it.
Yeah, they're trying to make it intellectually acceptable for the 21st century. And
Yes.
that is a whole nother campaign.
Go ahead,
What were you saying, Rafiq?
No, I was just saying yes. So this is an agreement with everybody.
And you also actually have to think about too the cultures right now that have taken over Europe within the last 6 years. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, peace.
The religion of peace, and many others, and it just put it this way: it's still practiced. They're still practiced in Asia. It's still practiced in many parts of the Middle East and Africa.
Yeah.
It's more underground in Europe and the States than in the Americas, but it's still practiced. It hasn't changed. That's why I always go back to the ancient times. It was out in the public, and then it went underground. You know, you still have, now you have a different culture that's behind the West, that has gone into the West where there's more freedom. And if you notice in Europe, like any country, it's more acceptable now for rapes, sexual assaults, pedophilia.
Yeah, they're the new Europeans.
Because of the cultures that are coming in.
Yes, they are the new Europeans. That's what they are.
Europeans.
So if you look at any stories in the last 5 years, if you look at the stories, any of the stories in the last 5 years, I mean, they're promoting it's okay to have sex with a 13-year-old, grown ass man, like it's being promoted.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the problem, and we know that France has always been France.
Yeah.
We know that France, but I'm saying if you look at Europe and you actually look at the stories and you look at what they're promoting in culture, it is all that. It is taking us back.
Well, I guarantee you, PA knows. PA knows a lot more about this than probably most people. But everywhere that the death cult, the what do you call it, the religion of pedophilia, the religion of peace. Everywhere they go, they start dumping oil money and all of their mineral money into smear campaigns and political campaigns. They embed people like CAIR, C-A-I-R, they like the Muslim Brotherhood. They embed themselves into political organizations, media organizations, and they start desensitizing populations to the horrible, awful things they like to get away with in their own shithole countries. And once they do that, you get movies like Cuties. And if you debuted Cuties even 15 years ago, everyone would be being investigated by the FBI, the CIA, but now it's just like every media company is running point for Cuties.
And isn't it worth mentioning on discussion of the religion of peace, the Islam religion? I believe they're very fond of their lamb meat. Yeah, the main character is one of these lamb eaters, isn't she?
Yes.
And and part of her her youthful rebellion, her reassertion of her sexual liberty as a young woman is, and that's very much part of the narrative. And not gross.
To rebel against her conservative parents. I was like, that's a very sneaky way to try to put that with right wingers or people who are on the right or center right over here, because people when they look at the killings, they want to put a lot of jihadis and the bombers into right wing groups. Which I think is being disingenuous, but I don't want to skip the subject. I just want to notice how when they changed the description to Cuties, they made sure to put that part in on the new in the new description of the entire movie.
Yeah, I
which is
mean,
just
Tree,
terrible.
how dare those fucking conservatives and their prudish not wanting children to be twerking at 11 on stage.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, these
the
are the
main
same people.
character is I believe, what, like a African, like a French African.
I think she's
Muslim?
Native American. I think she's Native. I don't know what part she's from Africa she is from, but she is African.
Yeah, and the parents were Muslim. And, you know, I saw the scene where the mother said that she's a woman now, and usually, I mean, Islamic culture, they wouldn't actually go twerking.
No, we say religion of peace.
I'm sorry, religion of peace. I mean, twerking
YouTube will give us a spanking if we actually was to say the I word. So we have to say religion of peace.
Okay.
Religion of peace.
That would go against their cultural upbringing. So it's like I kind of surprised. I don't think I've heard anything from that demographic about that film promoting.
I have. You know what they're saying? Well, for my particular video, they are pissed off that I made a reference to Aisha and that guy. You know what I'm saying? Because in my video, I was like, well, I mean, this is not the norm. And then I put up a picture of Aisha and her husband at that time. And I went, and I didn't say nothing about it because I know YouTube hates it when we go into details about it. So all I did was just put their picture or their names up there, and then that's all I did. And oh my God, those people was all in his like, you don't know nothing about blah 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 blah.
Like, you fucking bomb, Tree.
They didn't say anything about the film. They didn't say anything about the film.
No, they were saying that I was misrepresenting the religion of peace, and I said, you do know I used to be one, right? So how the hell am I going to misrepresent something that I used to be? So,
I on her CLE.
Well, you know, women's interpretation of that religion is not particularly relevant to the people in it, or well, anyone else, unfortunately. Like, it's not a religion that particularly cares about women other than as property and, you know, biological reproduction.
Right.
Well, it's a feminist religion now. I mean, it's okay for little girls to be sexualized, I guess. And, you know,
no, the kafar. It's okay for the non-believer.
Right.
It's okay for the non-believer.
Because they're not really human.
20, they can violate however much they want a non-believer, but someone, you know, that's not that's from the religion of peace. You can't do that. You don't have free reign like that.
Yeah. True.
Don't you find it strange that the fact that the least liberal, least progressive, most patriarchal, most tyrannical, peaceful religion ever is you can say fuck Jesus, you can say fuck Moses.
Yeah, you can say any of that.
God forbid our tech overlords, and people say that's because the reason that the left and our tech overlords side with the religion of great and peace be upon him. The reason they do that is because the enemy of my enemy. But I think it's a lot deeper than that. It can't just be that, because you can't preach all this bullshit. There's more slavery now in the Middle East and Africa than the entire than the entire intercontinental European slave trade. But they are all for them. They're still cutting off tiny little girls' genitalia and marrying them, throwing gays off buildings. But somehow we're supposed to believe that it's Isophobic if you even criticize.
Well, most of your atheists are on the left. And when you get rid of, and by the way, I'm speaking as an atheist, but I'm on the right. But I do understand that I actually love Christians. I love Buddhists. I love a lot of religious and spiritual organizations and sectors. However, when you have someone on the left and you take away their religion, they have to substitute it with something, and they substitute it with the government. That's the reason why a lot of these people on the left are into communism and then they associate evangelicalists, which is true. Most evangelicalists vote Republican, so they have to have Christianity as evil, and they don't even see their own hypocrisy because they are more inclined of embracing an ideology of Marxism, Leninism, or just straight up communism in order to snuff out something like that. I don't know if you guys saw this video footage, what's going on over there in China, but god damn, they are replicating exactly what Hitler did. They had a drone go over a mass grave, and all you saw was those type of people in it. Now, regardless of how much I feel I despise their religion, I am against this. And did you guys see that? Did you guys see that drone footage?
Mhm.
Like, oh my gosh, they're not.
They had the train, they had the Hitler train and everything. They had the Hitler train and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty typically Chinese though that they would be so industrious about this, because Hitler went about his business and did some really awful things, but he didn't have the foresight to sell the organs of his victims to. The Chinese have taken it and literally reduced Uyghurs to just component parts. I mean,
the Chinese are doing it to Christian as well,
and Buddhist too. I think
they're doing it to anybody that has any type of spiritual or religious belief. This is, I mean, they don't care what you are.
Why?
PA,
why did they not show? Maybe they're not doing that. Let me get your opinion on something. What if they're just mass killing the Muslims and just putting them in just a big mass grave? What do you think they're doing to the Christians and the Buddhists?
Well, they started with them first. Remember, this stuff is going back over a decade. When people were saying that they were rounding up Christians and they were rounding up Falun Gong and Buddhists. So before this whole new thing of they're targeting the community of the Asian people of peace, is because their population, to me, my opinion is their population is growing because they have a whole section part of China. So if you're talking about, I'm assuming if you're talking about the way methodical thinking is, there's a lot of stuff I'm not going to go into, but
right.
China has a huge population. They have a huge population.
Well, yes. But also that land where the Uyghurs live, isn't it supposed to have resources, I believe? I think it has natural resources.
I don't
That's
know.
what most of them are doing in the Xinjiang province where the Uyghurs are being held, where those trains are. There's tons of different natural resources. Same reason China is in Africa. Actually, one of the latest chiefs that got initiated in Ghana.
Yeah, I saw that.
Was Chinese.
I said, oh my God, I've always kept an eye on them. Actually, Jupiter, I've been keeping an eye on Africa for the last 5 years. When it was made known to me that China was making a presence there. And knowing how the Chinese people and blacks here in America, their relationship, where the Chinese give zero fucks about being called racist. They don't care. They're not putting up with that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? Black people, regardless how much they get their ass whipped, no, regardless of how much they get taken advantage of, whatever, they're still going to go and buy the yaki. They're still going to buy the wigs. They're still going to buy the products and stuff from these Chinese beauty supply store owners. So then when I noticed that, I said, it looks to me that the Chinese, or I don't know if I have to say Chinese, if Taiwanese or Thailandese or anybody else.
Taiwan's not involved. This is just totally China.
This is China. So I'm like, so when I look at I look at the relationship between blacks and Chinese and Africans and Chinese, I noticed that Chinese have zero fucks given when it comes to what they want and how they will treat black people. So when they've been in Africa, I've been keeping an eye on them for long. And every now and then I will go ahead and give an update to my audience and say, hey, y'all, China about to take over Africa. You know what I'm saying?
They are, and they're Africans that know this, and they're trying to raise awarenesses. But their corrupt leadership. I mean, I heard like in Nigeria they got some freaking new amendment where that would like exempt Chinese NGOs from registering with them or something. But yeah, there's an awareness within the African community about that and those loans. So,
Tree, we got to talk about that one day, because there was that documentary where all these Chinese people are going over there, these businessmen building railroads and stuff, and there was this Chinese guy, like this, business guy, sitting in a room with two Africans and just belittling them, just like, you will never be able, you will never be able to fix, run this once we leave. I am now your slave master. And the Africans are just sitting there like,
and they're just sitting there taking it. And that's
here's the deal. We was kings and shit.
Well, with Africans, some of them still have this colonial mindset that white or European is better. And a lot of them haven't gotten over that. With Black Americans, these pro-blacks thinking, well, the Chinese aren't white, so it's not such a bad thing, which is stupid.
Yeah, it is stupid, Rafiq. And so my thing is like, okay, we was kings and shit. Y'all sit up here want to blame the white man, but yet still Chinese are kicking your ass. Right? Well, white people will bend over. They'll get on their knees. They'll say Black Lives Matter. They'll do whatever the fuck you want. Chinese people are not doing that shit. And here's something else I want to add to the conversation in reference to that relationship. It's easy for the Chinese government to come into a country, an African country, when they too are based upon a communist political and economic structure.
And the African population is much more vulnerable to this kind of manipulation, because this may sound cruel, but I mean, it's fact. The majority of Africans aren't as well educated. Most of them don't have internet. They're just much easier to manipulate, and particularly since a lot of these countries have been forgotten about by most of the world. China comes in and they say, we're going to build all these hospitals and these trains and all this stuff, and so they figure, like, even if they are suspicious, which maybe they are, they're like, well, what's our better option? Because no one else is coming in to do that, and so they don't read the fine print.
Oh my God, your cat is just.
Oh, Freya, yeah, she's a bit of a narcissist. Typical white woman right here. I have to say.
I'm a Porter stan.
What do you think about that?
What? Okay, so go ahead.
What do you think about that, Mo? About Africa?
But Africa? What you mean by Africa?
In reference to the Chinese taking over Africa.
You know what? Like I always said, man, Africa don't even like us anyway. So whatever.
True.
They don't like us. They don't like niggas. They don't like niggas. They always talking in African, but then they speak English when someone else come in. No, fuck
right. The thing that I have a problem with when it comes to people talking about the Chinese going into Africa, they're not forced to go into Africa.
They're being welcomed.
Yes. And that's where the issue comes in. The West has had how many hundreds of years access to Africa? And we didn't really develop these countries. I mean, honestly.
True.
Yeah.
We're still taking out the minerals. And you have many countries that are still, or not many countries, excuse me. Many like 100, 200-year corporations that are still exploiting Africa. Africa has 33% of the world's important minerals, precious minerals. So if we were thinking in a way that it would be a benefit for them and a benefit for us, it was a win-win situation, you wouldn't have the problem with the Chinese going in there and having their way.
It was never win-win with colonizing. Colonialism.
That's what I'm saying. We're saying modern times in the last 100 years. We could have done something about that.
I got here. No, here's this is so great. But here's the deal, PA, right?
Mm-hmm.
They keep, when I say they, the African people keep electing corrupt politicians. And when you, as a people, keep electing people who will throw you underneath the bus, who are just looking out for their personal gain, I mean, I would have to give them the same. I'm just had to give them the same shoulder shrug like the people who elect these liberals to be their mayors, to be their governors, and now letting Antifa just run all over them. You know what I'm saying? When Africans leave communism alone and stop thinking that this new corrupt politician is going to do something differently, then I don't really have any sympathy for him. Everything you said is correct. But if you are the one that allow yourself to be the doormat, then should I really be mad that you're being walked all over?
And PA, the difference between us and the Chinese, the Western mindset is a narcissistic, holier than thou mindset where you have this. We would never go in there. First of all, colonization was a disaster. It was an unmitigated waste and a disaster, led to nothing but suffering and war. But the reason we would have never stepped in to do what the Chinese is doing is because we are way too good to dirty our hands with oppressing people to get the minerals, and that's really the only way the Chinese is meant to do it. But there was a super chat a while back by the Engaged Few, and he had a brilliant point about this. He said, I'm already going to botch it. I just read it, but he said that the man credited with the enemy of my enemy is my friend was actually murdered in his palace by his
Palace guards.
Right. So what I would say to that is, we may look on the surface like we don't get our hands dirty. We may look on the surface that we don't get our hands dirty. The West has a different way of doing strategic warfare, a certain way of handling things. So when we look good, we look peaceful, we have other things running. You have to, that's why it's like Africa is like my thing. I've been looking at it for a very long time, and it's just like, it's very complicated because Africa is just not one country, right? It's a whole continent.
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the problem that we're having is you have to look at the history of Africa, the civil wars. Go back to what rebel groups, because remember, Africa, each country slowly has been toppled throughout the last 70 years by these rebel groups. And they're always going into fertile lands and taking out the people. And it's just like the enemy is with my friend. You have to see who's funding the change of system. It's not only the corrupt politicians, but it's kind of like what's happening to the United States.
Yeah.
Who's funding BLM?
Right.
You can see it in that same way. It's the same blueprint that happened in Africa the last 70 years. And that is still going on.
Conquer.
It's the same. And let me tell you, if you really want to get ugly and you really want to get like fucked up in your head, start looking into what companies are drilling in Africa. Start looking to see what major companies are digging up the diamonds, digging up the coal in South Africa, digging up the gas, the oil. Okay, and this is all of Africa, not just Northern Africa. And then you start looking into all those companies, and you're going to see the same names over and over and over. And you're going to see major companies with subsidiaries tied to them. So, and this is going on right now. This is stuff that it's time consuming to look into, but you're going to see a big picture, and it's going to piss you the fuck off.
And PA, they're the same people funding the NGO boats, busing migrants into Greece, France, and Spain.
Here's my question to you all in reference to that. Absolutely, everything you said, 100% factual. Here in America, we will win this war against the well-funded terrorist group known as Black Lives Matter and Antifa and any of these tankies. The UK is losing bigly because they will not fight back. This is why I love America. This is why I love being American, because we have a history. We're founded on saying, fuck you. My thing is that if they're not going to do the same thing in certain countries in Africa, if they're not going to do this in the UK and in other areas of Europe, except for Poland's fighting back, Slovakia, Hungary, and Czech Republic, and I think I'm missing one more. These are the only countries that are fighting back, while everybody else is taking the knee and getting rammed up the ass. So it's like, the strong shall survive. And if they're not going to stand up and fight, then okay, the thing about it is that what else could be done if they won't stand up and fight?
Yeah, you definitely can't. What do they say? You can't lose if you don't play, but you also can't win. And they're not playing. Like, they're just waiting for it to blow over.
The enemy is.
I'm sorry?
You can't win if you don't know who the enemy is. We are lucky. Being in the West, we're more. For some reason, the West has brought the best of all the world, and we think more when it comes to who do we trust, who do we not trust. We tend to look at everything strategically, for the most part. Most people here in the United States, that we're into politics and we're into all this stuff and we're into creating, innovating, all this stuff. We look at things a little bit deeper than most. And I'm not talking about the public school education types. I'm talking about people that actually want to understand how the system works. In most of those countries, they're just coming up they're just catching up to where we are and where the West is. You understand what I'm saying? And they have a different type of cultural system. They've had a different type of cultural system. You know what I mean? They had a class system. They had, in certain parts of Africa, you still have people that can't get above or can't get married into another tribe. You still have those things. So we're ahead of the game. The States are ahead of the game, the Americas are ahead of the game, and Europe is ahead of the game. Because a lot of tribes in Africa still can't marry into each other.
But PA, and believe me, you and me are on the exact same shit. Between the globalists, the CCP, the cartels that are all funneling misinformation, propaganda, and hell into our society. You said we can't win if we don't know we can't play if we don't know who the enemy is. One of the enemies is ourselves and our own narcissism, because we're kind of like late stage Rome, where pedophilia was rampant, debauchery and drunkenness and drug addiction was just rampant. And they had become this superpower, this luxurious superpower that never had to worry about barbarians at their gates. No one was fucking with Rome. Our problem is, and I think Europe is at the precipice of this way further than us. They hate themselves. They have no cultural pride. They have no faith and pride or love for themselves. And so the reason they bring these cultures that, as you rightly put, are much further behind us, they bring them in and glorify these barbaric cultures, is because they have no love for their own culture. They don't realize that we are a good, loving, enlightened people. And so they're fiddling while Rome's burning because they hate themselves. I think, although, yeah, the globalists and the CCP and all these different councils and armies against us are taking advantage of it, they wouldn't be able to do this to us if we wouldn't let it happen from within, I think we need to have an awakening of our own self-respect and love and worth and say, we fucking eradicated slavery. We eradicated almost poverty. I mean, our poor are obese, which is also a problem.
You can't even do that with the fact that they have brainwashed a lot of these dumbass college kids.
Yeah. Oh shit! Don't get me started.
We really, the only way.
Go.
Honestly, the only way I see us ever getting out of this problem that we have, because of the universities and because of just this whole woke cult that has infected every aspect of our culture, like Jupiter has said it, and I agree with him. Like, we need to just hard reboot our entire educational apparatus, and it'll be a multi-decade project. But the current mixture of Marxist-leaning unions and anti-American intellectuals that see themselves as activists first, educators later. It's got to go. There's nothing. Keep the STEM programs. Push people into technical programs. But as far as the humanities, it's a shame because there's so much interesting stuff out there. But you know what? It's just got to go.
I think with the fact that who I'm sorry, did I interrupt somebody? Okay, I think with the fact that we have protected, and this is a controversial opinion of mine, we have protected these piece of shit professors who are now knowing that they have a tenure. They cannot be fired, so that they can teach. They can even teach porn to the students, and nothing can be done to them. You know what I'm saying? I think tenure should be removed. Okay, I don't like it. And if we're going to give money, and Trump needs to stop fucking sending out wolf tickets about defunding these universities and actually goddamn do it. Stop threatening to do it and fucking do it. But stop giving people like Berkeley, stop giving people like Evergreen and all these other Harvard and all these other crazy ass schools that are catering to the Marxist thought, to teaching communism to these stupid people. You know what I'm saying? Stop giving them the money and let them fucking just die off on their own. And I don't know. I don't think a law can be passed for removing tenure, because that is protected underneath an employment rule, right? Or can somebody educate me on that one? Like, could you even remove that? Or I think that's up to the school.
That's up to the school. Yeah, that's their right. It's a private entity.
Yeah.
It's like a corporation. You can't do that. They can do whatever they want. As long as they're within the what is it, OSHA?
You could maybe though make it so where it's at this moment the educational apparatus has a monopoly, the same way like the film industry. Like, you have to deal with their unions, you have to follow their rules, or you don't have access to public funding, you don't have or even private funding in some cases. Like, if we got it to where it was okay for schools to operate that didn't require teachers to be in a union, for instance. Like, from what I understand, and I'm not an expert in this area, but from what I understand, the NEA is it the NEA, the National NAU? Anyway, the teachers union is a huge player in all of this incredible corruption and all these rules that allow for really bad teachers to go out there and do bad stuff. Because it's a similar problem that the police union have. Most of the worst problems the police have are because of corrupt unions. Unions in general are hurting our country at this point. They were very valuable at one point, but at this point, I think they just become sick.
They became just as corrupt as the corrupt corporations they're supposed to fight.
Yeah, that's so crazy though. They were the one protecting at first, and now they're just as bad.
Unions were described to me. I'm an anti-union type guy. I'm in construction, and I'll never go union. I'm an independent contractor. But unions were described to me by my barber, this old, like 80-year-old kid. But there were like mining companies, for instance. And you would literally have to live in the mining area and in the camps. And the only money they would pay you with would be to the company store. And steel mills and things like that were just about the same way. They were terrible. And so, yeah, unions served their purpose for about 5 seconds. I don't think unions were actually needed. I think just reforms were needed. But the thing about teachers is the only time I've seen tenure, and there was a super chat just now that said tenure was actually ironically created to empower teachers to have freedom of speech, etc. It's funny, the only times I've seen tenure removed in the last year were 2 times a conservative and then even a liberal stepped out of the liberal orthodoxy and were booted. It's amazing how all of a sudden tenure can be revoked when you don't toe the party line. It's just like when Chinese people kill Christians, Muslims, anyone that doesn't go along with the party. Any type of orthodoxy that doesn't fall in line with the party, gotta go. Tenure's got to go, and so do term limits, babes.
Oh my God, yes. Oh God. Okay, so if we want to because I got another subject, but anybody want to we all will go around and wrap up your thoughts on going back to Cuties. Let me give my I think I gave my opinion already, but I'm gonna go ahead and give my conclusion. So this is an opportunity for everybody to do so. So here's my thing on Cuties. I don't know if the government can I know I heard what Jupiter said, that they have violated 2 of those laws, but I mean, there has been violations on a lot of things. One thing I do know about the Republicans, they're pussies, and they don't want to be the bad guys. And I want to see if they're going to actually file charges or actually go through with making Netflix feel the fire. You know what I'm saying? Whenever I hear something in dealing with the legislation of we're thinking about putting Netflix under investigation for violating the Child Protection Act, I'm like, yeah, right. I've heard this story before. So my thing is that when you told me that they lost $8 million, that sounds good. But now after you said it, it made me think like, well, how much do they make a year?
Way more than that.
Way more.
So is this like if you're a millionaire, do you really give a fuck that you lost $100?
Yes. Yes, they do.
Do you?
Well,
Yeah, they
cheap. So, some millionaires are remarkably cheap. I worked for one once. But
don't care. It's
Very miserly.
money is their gun.
yeah, but at the same time, she's right. Like, when you're like a Hollywood celebrity would be a great example. Like, when you're like, say, Julia Roberts or whoever is relevant now, because I don't think she is. But when she gets a speeding ticket, does she care? Not really. Like, I mean, it's like she's annoyed because she's late to meeting with one of her friends for some $70 latte or whatever, but she doesn't actually care about the ticket. She doesn't care about it's not going to affect her greatly at all. And that's probably the way Netflix is like, oh, okay, well, we're losing some subscriptions, but yeah, they're going to get bored. They'll come back. They always do. And look,
they don't? That's a very good statement. Do they always come back though? Because this is not the first time canceled in Netflix. People have gotten rid of their subscription. They got rid of it during Big Mouth. Okay,
they did,
and they come back.
They do. Well, that's why. Well, Tree,
I want to see Cobra Kai. I ordered it. I did.
Wait, Tree, can I correct you?
Yeah.
9 billion with a B. Billion they lost overnight. But and yeah. I mean, God bless all the people that did that, and that's why I said a lot of people will cancel and then redo it. But Tree, for that thing, and I can put this in the chat or I can send it to you real quick if you want. But I just found it now that you said that. Can I just read this for you? The law.
Yeah.
So for those this is Lila Rose. For those claiming that the filmmakers did nothing illegal, the law and case law is crystal clear here. The filmmakers and Netflix have violated Title 18, Section 2256. It's called the DOS test. It's a 6-factor test to determine if images are child porn. Here they are. Number 1, if the focal point of the visual depiction is on one of the child's genitalia or pubic area. They violated that one.
They sure did. Yes.
They sure did. Come on, you know that.
Yeah. They did do that.
Number 2, whether the setting of the depiction is sexually suggestive, that is, in place or pose associated with sexual activity. This is anyone under 18. Whether the child is depicted in an unnatural pose or inappropriate attire.
Oh my God.
Whether the child is fully or partially nude. They showed a child tit. And 5, whether the visual depiction suggests child sexual coyness or willingness to engage in sexual activity, like the security guard one, or when she puts her cooch in the phone. And number 6, whether the depiction is designed to elicit a sexual response in the viewer. That is boom.
So the question I'm going to ask is this: where was the film made?
France, I think.
France.
Right? France.
Okay. So what most likely is going to happen is that they're going to be able to pass any laws or go after Netflix per se, they're going to require Netflix to block that film in the United States, like Europe does to our content, like the Middle East does to our content, like China does to our content.
So it's just digital balkanization.
Well. Let me ask you something. If CP was filmed in Africa and you possessed it in America, you still get charged for that, right?
That's a good point.
What's up,
That's
Pat?
a good point.
If CP, I'm abbreviating here. If CP was produced and made in Africa or Europe, and you possess the actual copy here in America, you still get charged, right?
But they're not going to go after Netflix. You have to download it. Remember,
okay. Right. I see what you're saying, because this is a company where it's streaming it through their platform versus you downloading the CP to your computer.
That's where they get you. When you download it or you actually take physical possession.
Right.
It's also, it's like what's the difference between a prostitute and a porn star? Whether she has a production company or not. True. I mean, like, otherwise the product's basically the same.
Right.
So Netflix has tons of lawyers and tons of lobbyists that have been protecting it from all variety. I mean, there's a reason why no matter what happens to the internet, no matter what's okay. My cat is disgusted by this.
That's so funny.
Yeah, but Netflix will be just fine.
What I see happening is that if they do pass anything in the States, it would be that no content like that can be streamed, and Netflix would have to automatically not provide it to the States. Because that's what they do everywhere else. That's what they do in Europe. That's what they do in China. You know, same thing with the whole Google search engines. It's the same type of thing. They block it in the country where the laws are different.
Maybe they should do that. That will set up a good precedent to prevent other stupid libtard type of pedophile-loving streaming companies from doing the same thing, similar to Cuties, or maybe even worse to Cuties.
Or a Big Mouth. At the very least, maybe this, like, they can definitely say, like, hey, so we can't necessarily prosecute you, but if you make any more of this shit, we're coming after you.
Big Mouth was a test to see
definitely
if they would go too far. They were like, oh, they got outraged, but they let it go. So let's go ahead and sneak Cuties in there. They always want to fucking go further than what you expect them to do. You know what I'm saying? They always want to move the goalposts and test the limits.
What is Big Mouth about?
It's a coming-of-age animated. Well, they call it a coming-of-age film about like preteen sexual adolescence, where they represent their sexual desires and awakening as like monsters.
They have faces like your vagina is talking back to you, and this, that, and the other.
And they talk about penises and how kids like penises.
Good Lord.
And they talk about pansexual. I mean, it's literally it's.
That's the thing about it. It's a cartoon.
It's really ugly too, the way it's drawn.
No,
it's an American show.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
No, but it's like, is it like anime type deal?
No, nothing like that at all. No, see, here's the thing about hentai. Like, oh, did you say something, Maurice?
No. Go ahead. I was piggybacking off that damn so-called movie.
Okay, like the difference between what yes, in anime there is a genre called hentai and a subgenre which is called lolly, which talks about very young-looking characters. It's really nothing like that though, because yes, they do sometimes show some provocative poses of children, but never 11-year-olds. Like, not usually. That's pretty taboo in Japan. But the difference is they're not talking about grooming children for sexual activity the way Big Mouth is. And then the thing is, hentai literally means pervert. It's sectioned off in its own thing where they're like, okay, yeah, that's gross. If you're going to watch that, you're a hentai. Whereas Big Mouth is being lauded as some sort of progressive thing that children are actually supposed to watch.
Hentai is pornography. Big Mouth is a literal cartoon children's show.
Yeah. Sexualized children's show.
Is it?
I think I don't envy parents today because I would buy all kinds of apps and software to block all these things. Now, of course, you're not going to get all of them, but while they're here at home, they would definitely not have access to a lot of these fucking shows and a lot of the things that they see on the internet. You know what I'm saying? The fact that with that one clip we all were discussing about, the fact that she lost her fucking mind and bit her father to get her phone back, like to lose her phone was like as if she was being killed.
Yep.
Well, for a lot of these kids, that their phone is like their whole existence. Without their phone, they're just a person. They're not connected to anyone else.
I saw that bullshit.
Yeah.
I'll be like, you ain't getting no damn phone till you're 18. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'll be like,
Yeah.
no, what internet shit? What,
Yeah.
doing a school online? How homeschool you?
It would be an old flip phone, no smartphone.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. It would be a flip phone.
It's an insult to injury at that point.
I'll get you that grandma, the big button phone.
Oh,
With
not
the jitterbug.
Hey,
Oh, you
They
mean the
used to have
dial thing? What's it called? When you dialed back in the day, like back in the 80s?
A rotary.
The rotary.
Can you even use those anymore? Honestly, I don't know if they even work.
No.
Honestly,
They won't
When
work.
I was a kid, they had the ones that you could have your phone. Your kid could have a phone and everything, but they could only dial numbers that you preset in that bitch. So you could have daddy and then no one else, or I'll shoot you.
and unless you want to move on, Tree, like I do
No,
have
go
one
ahead,
more
go ahead,
thing.
go ahead. No.
It's worth mentioning that like a lot of this stuff that we're talking about for kids being exposed to, it has to do with parents not making very good decisions as far as monitoring them. Because yeah, you can make the argument you can't monitor your kids 24/7. That's true, but you can also not give them devices that make it easy for them to not be monitored.
True.
And it's a sad thing because it's really hard. Like my sister has twins, my nieces. I love them dearly. Thankfully, they're not old enough to have phones yet. They're still like 3, but they're really stressing about when they're going to give the kids some sort of phone because they're going to have to be able to keep tabs on them. Like as far as where they are, and that's a useful thing about phones, GPS tracking for parents. But they're really not eager to have them access to screens. And what do? You can't not give them. You can't not be able to get
phone, like Rafiq said. Yeah, give them the flip phone.
You can't GPS track that.
That our phone was out for like 6 months. And
Wow.
we yelled and called. We used the neighbor's phone back in my days. Hey, can I use just to merge you with my grandmama? All right. Look, they knock on your door and that was it. We didn't look. My parents were working, right? And they didn't have no phone. The phone bill was fucked up for 6 months. And I know a lot of people, like when I had a phone, people like, can I use a phone? People went out without phones. But
yeah, that's true. They did go out. Well, phones. Can I use your phone? Can I use your phone?
It was a different world, though.
Come on, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You can't.
Oh, yeah.
You really can't live without a phone anymore, though.
This though. This is something me and BJ, Big Bad Bear Jew, were talking about during that debate about the WAP debate. Yeah, you can not give your kid a phone. You can take their flip. You can give them a flip phone or a pager or whatever, a fax machine. But once they get into schools, a lot of them kids are badass kids with badass parents, and they have phones. So in the end, their peers today are always going to have that phone. So what we really got to do is attack this culturally, because you can try to hide your kid from the world, but these days the world is nasty.
Well, isn't it good that now that they have to? Isn't it good that now they have to do virtual learning? Because now it's homeschooling, but not.
They're not.
And remember the teachers were all freaked out because they didn't want their kids. They didn't want the parents to be able to see what they were telling them.
Yeah, because it was like the school district in Tennessee that made parents sign a waiver that they won't monitor the.
You ain't gonna tell me what the fuck to do with my child? Do the fuck? This is my
Good
child.
luck enforcing that.
Nigga.
to see a teacher tell Tree,
Crazy.
hey, Mrs. Tree, this is your kid's teacher. You're not allowed to monitor your child. I would love to see what happens.
Hi, eat shit and die, and come over here and try to make me not monitor my child's goddamn lessons, motherfucker. And if they white, I go, well, and you are not my daughter's slave, massa. You're not her slave. I mean, you're not her slave, massa. I would do that white guilt. I love dealing with. This is one thing I love about the fucking white guilt with the liberals. As a black right winger, I fucking play that card on them every fucking time. Every fucking time. You want to do identity politics? Fine. Why should I bring a chess to a checkers game? You want to play? I'm gonna use your pieces. I'm gonna fucking beat your ass with them. I'm gonna win your game.
I'm sorry. Are you telling me that wait, sir, you're white. Are you going to tell me that you're going to tell a person of color that they can't watch their child's Zoom call?
Exactly. I'm going to report you. I'm going to report you to Al Sharpton.
I'm going to Rachel Maddow. Any Brian Stelter.
Yeah, I'm going to fucking do that. But yeah, I think that the kids being at home, I know that's driving the parents crazy, but I kind of like it because now it's hard to indoctrinate them through online Zoom classes when you have the parents in earshot.
It's a lot harder to go ahead.
The other problem is too that the parents have been allowing the internet and cable and satellite and Netflix and Hulu and Crackle or whatever to bring up their kids. They've allowed Nickelodeon and Disney and whoever, so it's the parents' fault.
Yes.
Because if you just put it this way, if instead of having cable TV or satellite or the internet where you watch shows, instead of having that, you had a bookshelf full of books. I guarantee you that kid is going to be more respectful and more understanding of the world when they come across shit.
Yes.
They'll be like, what the fuck is this?
Come on.
They're like, something's wrong with this picture. They will know right away the difference between that shit because they haven't been desensitized.
True.
See what I'm saying? It's going to be more impactful than to be like, hold up. Like, we don't do this in our house.
Right.
Very few kids will fall into that.
And PA, how many times have you been out and you see kids like 10 years old on iPads at the table when you're at a restaurant?
3-year-olds.
What?
3-year-old playing games on an iPad.
At the restaurant, I know.
Yes.
And then the kid is like walking around and I'm like, these parents are fucked up.
I don't, and maybe because these are my godchildren, but man, I am so interested in their world that I just adore just being at the table and just talking with them. And of course, they all want to talk to you at one time, but the computer, the laptop is never at the table. I'm sitting there to listen to what's going on about their day. Now, like I said, that's an unfair testimony because I'm not there with them every day, but isn't that what you signed up for when you decide to have children?
Yes. Bingo.
Bingo.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any last words on this? And then we got one quick one, and then we'll be ending at the top of the hour.
All right.
No? Okay. Go ahead. No, Cats. I
think we've talked this one pretty much to fruition.
Yeah, we did.
So listen, check this out. The Portland riots have basically died down. And the reason why is because now they're going to have the biggest protests in front of the White House in Washington, D.C. coming up next week. Now, you all heard me criticize on my show about how I was very angry that Donald Trump did not have the National Guard or any good security for people who came to his acceptance speech at the RNC at the White House, and then allow these thug motherfuckers from Black Lives Matter to rough up not only the police, but also to rough up the guests from there. That concerned me I kind of figure he was doing that for a reason, to show like, okay, look how out of control they are. But when somebody comes to the White House, in my opinion, it's up to you to protect them. Now you're going to have tens of thousands. Now they're saying hundreds of thousands. I don't believe it's going to be that many people. They're going to have tens of thousands of people that are going to be camping out from next week until election day in protest of Donald Trump being in office. Here's my question, and of course, we want to discuss it. Do you think this is going to get violent? And if it does, or shall I say, when it does, how do you think Trump is going to handle it now that that's in front of the White House?
I definitely think it's going to be violent at some point, and I think that Trump is going to monetize it. I think that if they try to do
more
ads, he's going to collect so much footage of crazy people saying ridiculous things that he can use in his, as like Rafiq said, in ads. If I were him, I would definitely take the opportunity to troll them. Like, I just put out a big screen on the White House lawn and say, like, "Hi, Antifa," like, and you know that would be savage if Trump did that. Is like, you loses. I do a terrible impression of Trump, but you know,
yeah, me too, yeah.
But I mean, it's going to get violent. They're going to make fools of themselves. They're going to hurt people. They're going to destroy property, and it's going to be great PR because. When the protests are peaceful, things look good for the Democrats. When they're not peaceful, people say, "What the fuck is wrong with the Democrats? Like, why are they not calling this stuff out?" And Trump is probably going to be like, "Hey, Nancy, like, aren't you going to do anything about this?" That's what I think.
Here's another question. Hold on, Rafik. This is a good one. I promise you, this is a good one. In Seattle, remember doing Chaz and Chop? They provided porta potties. Do you think they're stupid enough to do that shit in Washington?
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
God.
the DC city DC city officials would, but the feds would not.
Why? My thing is, like, let them shit in the fucking woods like the animals that they are. Why are we providing them porta potties?
Well, I mean, the DC mayor is a total.
I forgot. Yeah,
you know,
she's a lip
you actually you talked about her the other day. This was the lady you were talking about.
Yeah.
That DC mayor with the Black Lives Matter Boulevard and all that.
Yeah.
But I'm of two minds because, number one, yeah, I mean, these people are going to bring all thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people out. And I'm sure most are peaceful, but a lot of them won't be and will be there to agitate. And they're just waiting for Trump to throw in the gas canisters and call in the feds, these people's heads. They're waiting for that great photo op that Trump hasn't given them. And so I'm thinking, well, our poll numbers are up, and this is a very important election. Let's let them destroy everything and let the country see that. But I'm also like, I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Steel City. And I saw an elderly couple, I'm sure you all did too, trying to eat lunch. And Black Lives Matter protesters upended tables, ripped their beer out of them, and drank it right in front of them. I'm done watching innocent Americans just getting railroaded by these people. And yeah, I get it. We need to win this election. We do, more than anything. It's so important. But at the cost of innocent civilians, like Kyle Rittenhouse, for instance, the king of Kenosha, he's going to jail forever, even though he didn't do shit.
No, he's not.
No, he's not.
He can't. He was out of town. I know Illinois rules. I'm from Chicago. I know this fuckery. I know this shit. He's only going to get charged for carrying an illegal firearm.
It wasn't illegal. It wasn't illegal.
I'm going to top that, Mo. All those charges are going to be dropped. He ain't going to get charged with
shit.
I know.
But he'll get charged a little bit. You say all of it, Tree.
I'm saying all of it.
I'm just saying at least they'll give him a little probation.
I'm saying he's looking at life. That's what they're threatening him with. First-degree murder. He's looking at life for doing nothing other than defending himself and trying to go out there and defend everything. I mean, how many Kyle Rittenhouses are we willing to sacrifice before, election or not, we send in the feds and protect our fellow citizens? It's a hard question.
Rafiq, what's the answer? I don't know the answer to that.
Me neither.
I don't either. I don't know the level of threshold it would take to be reached for people to say enough is enough.
Well, what comes next, if people are at that point of enough is enough, is going to be bloodshed. And that's the bottom line. The next step is bloodshed because there's been 30 plus people killed since the beginning of the George Floyd riots.
Well, what do you mean by bloodshed? Because they already killed. The Antifa has already assassinated a Patriot member,
right? And now they've taken a bunch of conservatives or patriots or they say militia off the Twitter accounts. They're talking about blocking Trump if he says that he won the election on election night. If he actually says that he won the election before all the ballots are in from the mailing, they're going to block him from tweeting. Okay.
What?
Have a civil war on the day or the day after the election. You're going to have bloodshed. You will, because it's already, it's like people say the left and the right. Well, the law-abiding citizens against the people of chaos. The law-abiding citizens have taken it and taken it and taken it and taken it. Law enforcement has stood down. They've destroyed cities. They've killed people, assaulted people, beaten up people, raped women, raped children in the open, and PA. I don't know if you heard about the
I did. I talked about that on my show. I did.
Yeah.
I was so disgusted by that factor, and
And then the woman that was publicly being raped, almost raped on the New York City subway.
And that I talked about that too, and I was disgusted by that. The fact that they're going to take video camera of it instead of helping the woman
in broad daylight.
So you have this accumulating, and you already have people talking about if we're giving Trump one last chance to stop this shit. So you have a lot of people saying this, and I agree. He has one more, but I understand he's waiting till election day. But on election day, we're going to have a serious issue, especially if the Democrats come out with the BS or they're not conceding. Because honestly, Trump is going to win by a landslide.
Yeah, he is.
And PA's not bullshitting about the Twitter thing. They literally censored Trump today. Literally today.
What happened? I woke up late today, so what happened?
That? Okay, Tree. Trump goes, listen, cast your ballot early, and once you do, still go to your polling place and vote. If you voted twice, don't worry. They'll eliminate the second vote. Do not let your vote be stolen. They took all the likes, retweets, and comments off of it, but put it up Twitter with a warning saying this is election misinformation.
No!
Putting it up for the sake.
Nigga, what?
What's that?
I just said nigga what? Go ahead.
Right. I mean, but to the president. No, the president of the United States, and PA's not bullshitting. They're literally censoring him. Let me ask you guys this: is this not a trap? They keep raping people in public.
Yes.
Urinating, throwing feces, throwing riots. Every single one of them is just them handing out the red flag to the bull, hoping they get that photo op where Trump just beats their heads in with the federal troops. It's a trap. It's all a trap. But on election day, like PA said, after he wins in a landslide, God willing, and he will, after that, he's going to start cracking heads, and it's going to get ugly.
Ugly.
I'm really
It's awesome hang out with me in my compound.
Say what, Rafiq?
I didn't say anything. That was Jupiter.
No.
It's going to be dangerous. A week before the election, it's going to be very, very dangerous. Like more dangerous than we've seen it now. And then if you want to talk about the arson going on right now, I mean, that should
do you believe it was a gender reveal party, PA?
No. Did you see my? Have you seen my feed?
No. I'll go look at it today.
All the people that have been arrested for arson.
Yeah.
In California. In Washington.
Yeah, I knew it was bullshit. Anytime they keep saying gender, because we understand how these people feel about gender, right? So I was like, a gender reveal party, really? You know what I'm saying? I'm not even going to believe that bullshit.
It's the same story from last year. They said the same story. It's the same story.
Yeah.
So it's like a repeated story. Same thing happened last year. Remember the guy in California that supposedly started the fires in Paradise Lost?
Yeah.
Oh, it wasn't the guy. They like smeared this guy, said he started the fire that killed all these people. Turns out it was P&G.
Right.
Electric company. So it's like
right.
I mean, I don't believe in gender, but my wife's boyfriend makes me have this gender reveal party, you know.
No.
I believe in gender, and I believe that men are cool and that
That's
women
racist.
are anatomically gross to me.
Racist.
That is racist.
Racist.
It's sexist. I don't care what color they are. I just care about whether they have a dangly bit or a cavernous whatever.
Dangly bit racist.
Racist. Mo, come get your boy.
Okay, so but the thing about it is that we're in September, you guys. Okay, fucking September, and they want to pop this shit off starting next week. I don't know. The thing about it is that I get what you guys are saying. And the reason why this concerns me is because that's my hometown. I'm from DC. I just forgot that quick that we got a fucking stupid ass bitch that's the mayor. So that's a problem. She's a libtard. That's a problem. So, you know, the thing about it is that she will probably provide them food, porta potties, blankets, you know what I'm saying, counseling.
I hope it's vegan food too. They're gonna want vegan food.
So much tofu.
No whole food.
They can't afford vegan food. They're gonna have to unless they're gonna get some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I don't even think they got the best.
Hey, they might have a peanut allergy. That's trying to kill people.
Well, they got the jellies then because the one thing about though that's true. That's a good point. As a vegan, you know what I'm saying, you can't participate in these riots and think that they're gonna also provide you an accommodation for your food. We remember your eating habits. Remember in China when they was listing up the things that they needed, and one of them was like vegan food because they had a lot of people just handing out food, but it wasn't vegan friendly.
As far as like what's going on with the protest that is incoming for DC, it would be very interesting to see whether because they're going to gather in front of the House, as is their right as Americans. Well, most of them, I'm sure some of them probably aren't, but you know, I wonder if anyone will be dumb enough to try to breach the fences at the White House.
We should put a bet on that. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Is that happening?
Yeah, that's going to happen. That's a definite going to happen.
It is.
That's a definite going to happen. Yeah. That's a definite.
The over-under on that is like 80. Yeah, I got 5 on it.
Yeah.
I stand corrected about the proper term for meat stick and bologna flaps. No lunch meat for this. This is the only pussy in my life right here.
You getting right? That's the only pussy you getting, nigga.
I'm scared of this one.
I just sent you a link on the chat.
Okay.
Of a mysterious weird person in Washington with a container, or I'm sorry, what are they called? Those big metal containers?
Shipping containers?
A barrel. On a skateboard. He was wearing a helmet, and he had black shorts, and he had one of those backpacks going down the street. The container was an oil container.
Oh my God, he's just so bold with it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's an oil drum.
Yep. What do you think he's gonna do with that baby? And then the woman got out, she started recording. She's like, what the hell is that?
And Peter, remember Umbrella Man during the original George Floyd riots? That white dude who was he had the umbrella and he was seen lighting some of the original fires.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, what we're experiencing right now, and there's another one. This is one of the counties declaring an active terrorism act or an active But the media is not reporting this.
Yeah, and the media, this is another thing too. The media is really pissing me off, except for the right-wing media. You know what I'm saying? I have to rely on, and I do my best to go through all the left, the center, and the right, but the left just lies so much, I can't even fucking goddamn look at their news media shit because it's like full of lies.
I know what you mean. You want to do your due diligence. Like, I can't. Half the time, if I see an article from CNN, I used to want to read it to verify whether they were lying to me, and now I'm like, oh, God, I don't even care.
They're gonna lie.
Here's a here's a CNN. This is my favorite, and I know you've all seen this. Here's a CNN. I'm going to put the link as well. Here is my favorite thing for anyone who hasn't seen it. This is a picture. It is a CNN reporter with a building ablaze, an inferno behind him, and the chyron reads,
mostly peaceful protests.
Fiery, but mostly peaceful protest.
Yeah. I seen that. Stupid. How is fiery peaceful?
They're the embers of justice. The coals of peace.
Hey, there was a meme going on. You know that stupid Antifa who had his feet on fire. There was
Oh God, there's like several, like Billie Jean, Footloose.
Yeah.
Not my joke.
And look, they said mostly look, fiery feet, but mostly not burning body. That's a fucking good point.
Someone in the chat said it's climate change.
Acute climate change.
If you look at those last two links, three links that I put there, they tried to blow up a hotel through the gas line. Okay, they tried to actually blow it up. They were doing something, and a passerby watched people trying to do something with the gas line, and they rushed away. You'll see the picture. They took a picture of the thing on fire, the gas line on fire. I mean, this is what we're having to deal with.
Are you not now? Rafiq is in New York. I'm in Georgia. The stuff that you guys see, I don't have to worry about it, but you guys have to worry about it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
And what I mean by worry about, you have to worry about crazy terroristic people from the left burning down shit, smashing shit, assaulting people on the streets, stabbing. You know, you have to worry about the lawlessness too, pretty much, or I mean, in your state.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I've ran into protests. Luckily, nothing extreme, but not that it doesn't occur. Because my friend who's in NYPD has told me some of the stuff he's experienced and his colleagues. And we have a Black Lives Matter Boulevard too in Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn.
To me, you might as well have an Adolf Hitler Avenue.
Right. But at least the opinions on Black Lives Matter is going down, though. People now, when people hear Black Lives Matter, they just roll their eyes and everything.
And I do think that this is why, as much as it irritates us that want Trump to come in and, you know, set these fools ablaze, like, which I'm sure there's a part of him that really wants to, it's so much better for the normie, for him and the country, that the normies get to see how crazy these people are, because when they act a fool, it's very hard for even the likes of CNN or MSNBC to ignore it. So I really do believe, to your original topic, that all of these people getting in front of the White House, it's a golden opportunity, particularly since they'll be there where the White House security cameras will probably be able to provide more than enough footage to be leaked to the internet, even if CNN won't broadcast it.
I hope they add audio to it. I hope they can put some audio in the
It's Washington, D.C. I'm sure you can't get within 100 feet of the White House before, like, or no, 1,000 feet of the White House before, like, you've been analyzed as far as, like, your weight, your identity, like your blood type.
Yeah. They got all that stuff with this new type of technology. This is why people are a lot of people from Antifa and Black Lives Matter are shocked when the FBI shows up at their house to arrest them. They thought that wearing a black hoodie with goggles and a face mask was going to protect them. I'm like, dude, they were basically so happy about this this pandemic to basically test out this new technology that will basically identify you regardless how much you're basically covering up your fucking face. You still walk the same. You still have the same type of body type. Everybody has a dominant foot. Like you either lead with your left foot or your right foot. You have either a right-handed or left-handed. You either lean to one side or you lean to the other side. Everybody has a different type of characteristics. And plus your eyes, if they see the color of your eyes, if they see the structure of your face, even with it covered with a lot of stuff, they still can know your identity, especially the fact that everybody loves putting their image on the internet. They love taking pictures of themselves and putting it on Instagram, Facebook. They love to take pictures with a group of people. And call me paranoid or whatever, but that is one of the reasons why, people go, oh, Tree, why don't you just, be active on your IG or whatever? I said, I know what I look like. I don't need to put no duck kisses pictures on my fucking IG. You know what I'm saying? I know what I look like. But it doesn't matter. The government even have my fucking face based upon all the fucking videos I have done on YouTube. So nobody can escape this when you show up there and you try to fucking break the law and going to hide out and think that they're not going to find you eventually.
And Tree, you know what? I think that we all, during this conversation, we've all, you and me and Katz and a lot of us, Rafiq as well, have been talking about this, about how whether it's good that Trump hasn't sent in the troops or not, and whether he should or he shouldn't. One thing that's missing through all this, don't count the champ out. Trump has not made one slip. The intel agencies have been against him, he won. The media has been against him, he won. The Republican and Democrat establishment, the military industrial complex, and he's won. You know what? That's actually an interesting point that you just made. Just by the way you touch your ear, they know it's you. Just by certain mannerisms, they can know it's you. You know what? If you have all these Black Lives Matter and Antifa type people coming out there, the leaders who have been going from state to state doing all this bullshit, coming to the White House, the amount of infrared and facial recognition, they might be and Bill Barr, don't count Attorney General Bill Barr out either. This actually might be the greatest psyop of all time. You get all of them together in one place with 1 billion cameras on them. You might just actually infiltrate those systems.
Now, answer this for me. DC is, because it's a special district, I know that they have a city council and their own police force and all that, but isn't it also federal as far as So okay, so there's no district attorney in Washington D.C. for them to play. Okay, so
no, if you all the crimes that's committed there, that's federal crimes. That's a federal penitentiary you go to if you're found guilty.
So Trump's probably out in front of the White House with "Come on in, Antifa."
But D.C. is its own country, though, right? It's
like a federal district, right?
D.C. is like its own country.
Like
in a way, it is.
It's kind of like the Vatican in the middle of Rome.
That's a good analogy.
I wanted to say with fewer pedophiles, but I can't.
Or like the city of London in the middle of
That's a good point too. But the city.
You know what? Now I'm getting happy about this, because that means that they're going to definitely be serving a minimum of 10 years.
Yeah.
For if they come over there and because they're so used, especially in Portland, where they're so used to the district attorney dropping charges against them, they probably don't even fucking understand the laws and the ramifications of their actions in DC. Yeah, but I'm still concerned about the police over there, because man, they really have tied their hands with a lot of things because of the mayor over there.
But if they do too much, if they're in front of the White House or within a credible distance of the White House, I don't think the DC police are going to be involved.
They're going to be that park that's across the street from the White House. They're going to be all camping. Oh, it's gonna stink. They're gonna be all camping and living right over there in that area.
So that's all Secret Service, though. At that point, though, isn't it? Or the Secret Service has jurisdiction?
Because I thought the Secret Service was gonna be protecting the guests of the White House, but that wasn't the case.
The Secret Service is a lot bigger than people realize. They do a lot more than just protect the president. And they got a lot of people.
But they didn't. You know, that's what I said. I didn't like seeing the guests from the RNC that went to the White House getting attacked. You know what I'm saying?
But maybe that I don't want to. I hope that Trump wasn't doing that specifically for any reason. I'd like to think that it was because of just where they were and not stepping on toes and things like that. But on a certain level, it does make sense though to because the media is constantly talking about how Trump is the evil fascist that's beating it's the Proud Boys are beating people up. So the more often we see conservatives being abused by Antifa, as terrible as that is, it's good to remind people what they have to lose.
Mm-hmm. Well, the good thing is that the Antifa types and BLM is basically they're destroying themselves with the violence and the rioting, and now the arsons. They're literally destroying themselves.
I also like the fact that this is now giving the Generation Z communism a bad taste in their mouth. You know what I'm saying? The millennials were tricked into thinking that it's this utopia. I had just a miniature voice chat debate with someone who wanted to come on my Twitch channel, and he's a straight up commie. I said, no, I don't want no more of you motherfucking commies on my debate channel. It's bad enough I got stupid ass liberals on my fucking shit that you can't even concede. Say y'all be just so disingenuous people. But I said I draw the line at commies, and he was like, well, let's talk about that really quick. What do you have a problem with communism? And then when I began to tell him, I'm like, well, let's see, the starvation, you were taking away class. You're trying to tell me as a black woman I can't be a millionaire, nigga. What? Have you lost your fucking mind?
Talk to Oprah.
Everybody can be a millionaire, but me? Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? And you know what he did? He says, well, let me see that. See, that's not of course, here we go with the memes. That's not the right kind of communism. Let me tell you about my utopia idea of communism. I said, stop. I don't want to hear it.
Jordan Peterson said it best. He said, every one of these kids that says what that dude said to Tree about, in my communist utopia, he said, let's say you are this beacon of goodness and light. The next person under you in the revolutionary chain is going to stab you in your sleep to get the power of this utopia that you just built.
Mm-hmm. Next.
Mm-hmm. Next. All you got to do is like, okay, you're a communist. So let me ask you, since you are a communist, do you own an iPhone?
No.
Of course they own it.
But it's very simple. It's like, do you own an iPhone? Do you own a vehicle?
They may not own a vehicle, but they definitely own an iPhone.
Do you have a laptop?
Yeah, probably they do have
probably
a
MacBook.
That's the only way he can communicate to me.
Yeah, do you have a GoPro?
People are arguing with PA on Twitter, and PA will be like, wait, you're a communist? And he's like, yes, I'm a communist. And she reads, and she's like, wait, tweeted from an iPhone? I'm a communist?
Not a good look. Not a good look.
How about Hassan Piker complaining that he got demonetized on September the 11th, and I'm like, motherfucker, you a commie. You fucking here complaining about you can't capitalize on capitalism. Okay, you can't benefit from capitalism. You're complaining about capitalism as a commie. Let that sink in.
Exactly.
It's funny that you mentioned that about the smartphones, because that's something I said to Jupiter on one of our previous podcasts. I say, if next time a white liberal comes to you talking about reparations or something like that, you say, okay, sure, like just look for the nearest black person. Like, okay, give them your smartphone and see if they'll do it.
No, do it. Because they have iPhone.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Not
Even
Androids, iPhones.
And they sure as shit aren't sharing it with their
Hey, I'm
comments.
still on Android right now, all right?
Me too.
Android pride.
Have you ever seen
Oh,
the live streams of the protests? Have you ever seen the live streams of the protesters?
No.
Like woke.net. Like I sit there and I'll watch live streams of them protesting all over the United States. And they have the best equipment. Like the iPhone, like the little things that they're recording with the camera and the GoPro and all this equipment and the vest. And
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, did you buy that on Amazon?
You do know that those live streaming backpacks cost $3,000, anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 to do a live stream like that on those backpacks, because a lot of people on Twitch have them, and it ain't no thing for them to spend $3,000 to $5,000. I had to get a fucking goddamn a campaign for this mic that's $400. You know what I'm saying? I actually had to get a fundraiser for my audio equipment, and these motherfuckers can look at a streaming package that costs anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. Can buy it just like that.
They're
And
rich
even if it
parents.
weren't-
They're rich parents. I mean,
Yeah.
they had to work for it.
Yeah.
Well, look at what happened in New York City. Those kids that they arrested, that they're like wealthy ass kids, like the 6 or 7, that were smashing up all the stores.
Oh, you're talking
Right.
about that Black Lives Matter Antifa, that white girl.
No, there was like 5 or 6 of them that were all from wealthy families from New York City.
Yeah, that's true.
Wait, Tree, real quick. This just a little side note. Our friend Falix just sent me something. Hear me?
Yeah, I can
we
hear
hear
you.
you.
Falix just sent me that Cuties now has a 0.5 score on Metacritic.
0.5.
Has any show ever had that before?
No. Well, I don't know, but no. Maybe Cats. Maybe Cats.
No, Cats.
No,
Nope. Cats.
No, not my cat. Not Cats.
No, Cat. No, you talking about the new Cats that they had? What's the girl from the singer who?
That horrible musical.
Yeah, that musical. No, it wasn't that low. It wasn't that.
It was pretty bad. Though.
Wow.
0.1234. Yeah.
You hate to see it.
Oh my God. You do.
Rest in peace.
Wow, that's awesome. That's fucking
Skål.
awesome. That's fucking awesome. I really hope Netflix lose more money. I hope they are ashamed to the point where they have to, their investors and the directors will jump ship. I really hope they crash after this. And basically, if this is the hill they want to die on, then let it be. Then let that happen. You know what I'm saying? So, as always.
Is there like an alternative to Netflix?
Huh? Yeah, Hulu. I don't.
Amazon Prime is great.
I don't use any of that. I'm just going to be like a typical Negro. I use a lot of torch shit. So, I mean, I'm not paying for none of this stuff. No.
Well, YouTube now, free movies. You got popcorn flicks. You got all these alternative ones.
The truth is, though, none of these alternatives are significantly different. Netflix just happens to be the biggest fish in the pot. I mean, Hulu is owned by Disney, and Disney, how much trouble are they in right now for Mulan, where in the end credits they thank the Uyghur internment camps in the credits? I mean, like, you're not getting no one. There are no angels in this. Like, it's just like, okay, what flavor of shit would you like?
Yeah, I don't buy any of this. I rather I get the shit on the hookup. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? But when I make sure, listen, you do that. You make sure exactly when you go to these sites, you make sure you got your goddamn antivirus on your fucking activated on your fucking computer.
Files, right?
You gotta make sure your shit is up to date so you don't get your fucking computer fucked up.
Yeah, it's 0.5. But
Speaking of, look, there was I'm gonna say this and then we're gonna close on out. There was a thing going around Twitter where there was like, click on here to see Kamala Harris twerking, and people who would click on it there was a fucking virus that would lock their keyboards, and everything they would type would be in capital letters, and it's and then so the tweet and Twitter still haven't taken it down. That entire fucking thread got everybody typing in capital letters like, "Oh my God, do not click on the above link. They're gonna fuck up your keyboard. You can only type in capital letters and this and the other." It is so fucking hilarious. And I was like, who the fuck want to see Kamala Harris twerking anyway? Just to go to show you people is like kind of like, you know.
The same people that want to watch Cuties, probably.
True.
Hey. I wouldn't, listen, don't lump me in with the Cuties people. I wouldn't mind seeing Kamala in those, you know,
yeah. I want to bring before we close out and everybody give their closing arguments as well as shut themselves out. Jupiter and Rafiq, have y'all noticed something that happened on this panel that would never happen on Twitch? Is that when someone proves someone else wrong, that they concede. PA proved me wrong in reference to parents also being pedos. And I had to think about it and I go, that's true. And I conceded. You know what I'm saying? This is the reason why it pisses me off, the shit on Twitch, where if somebody proves you wrong, you know, their low self-esteem refuse to admit when they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? I was proven wrong. I realized, oh no, she's absolutely right. And then you concede it. This is when I have to say that YouTube is far better than Twitch, to the point where I had to change my format. Like Jupiter and Rafiq will be on the next format where I have to stop actually talking, putting up so many topics because they're disingenuous in their answers, and when they're proven wrong, they either move the goalposts, call you names, or just basically poo-poo it. But they don't want to say, "Okay, you're right."
The Twitch shit is basically no Tree. That's spot on and worse. They either interrupt you, like you said, won't admit they're wrong, change the topic, or say some real racist shit to Rafiq. That's their only strategy.
I gotta get on Twitch. What I'm missing?
Oh,
I gotta get my Twitch account.
I have a panel once a month. It's a very, very popular panel. It's actually, I was the one to come up with the format, and a lot of the liberals, because, you know, they love robbing ideas from Black women like myself, because I got it like that, have started to do the same thing. But the problem that I'm having is that it's really hard, damn near mission impossible, to find someone from the progressive left that will actually argue in good faith. So when you're proving, to me, I don't have low self-esteem. So when PA disagreed with me, one, I didn't get offended. If you disagree with them, they get really butthurt. I mean, extremely, extremely butthurt. So they take it personally. Two, when you actually come up with them with something that's factual, instead of them saying, "You're right, I concede, you're right," you know what I'm saying? They go, no, but Trump.
Yeah.
They'll go into something else. They'll move the goalposts. They'll call you names. Like, yeah, we have had a white guy actually, you know, just basically tell Rafiq that his Black experience don't mean shit because it's anecdotal. You know what I'm saying? and his white experts know more than him as a Black man. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was racist. It was, and I told Rafiq, I said, at least I got this on video to show that, yeah, this is blatant racism that they have here on the left.
But the thing is that you didn't really concede. You were just looking at it from one angle, you know, because that's probably what you've seen mostly.
At the time, no, I had to concede because at the time I thought it was just, I didn't even think about it until you said something.
You were looking at it from one angle, right?
Okay, yeah, just one angle. Yeah, just saying that. No, if you don't have kids, you're basically a pedo. And then when you're like, no, parents are pedos too, and I go, oh shit, they are.
Right.
Yeah, because it's not really like that you're wrong. It's that, you know, because of what you've seen or what you know, automatically thought of. That was your first, you know, view. It's like, oh, you
But
have
even what you did would not hold well with these people. They will basically fight. No, seriously. Am I lying, Jupiter and Rafiq?
PA was on. If you brought PA on one of the debates, if you thought I white knighted by being like, "Hey, we haven't heard
I
from
wouldn't
PA,"
even submit her
I
to
would
something
come
like
through
that,
this
dude.
screen if that dumb Dane or Grimace or Micro Macro started talking that shit to PA. The Hebrew Hammer would literally run through that screen and smash their dumb commie faces into their dumb commie iPhones. They are PA. They're the worst. They're rude. They don't debate fair. They just talk over you. And if you're winning, they'll start blowing up your screen with emojis. They're awful. It's not the same thing. They're bullshit.
But they're that's not real debate, though. And that's not real.
It's not, and that's the reason why that's the reason why I'm changing the format to just do hypothetical. Now here, like the one I have not tomorrow, but the Sunday after that. It's a new format where it's going to be one discussion and everything else is going to be hypotheticals because they're not coming with good faith arguments. They're just not.
It's typical because like they embody the worst element of leftism, which is postmodernism, meaning that these are people that don't really believe in truth. They only believe in perspectives and power narratives. So you can't argue in good faith with someone who doesn't believe that there's such a thing as truth. They only believe in their side and your side, and your side is wrong. So
but that happens to everybody. But the thing about them is that they're programming, right? They're programming to base everything off emotion. Even though a lot of us do, but that's how they're programmed. So they can't snap out of it because that's all they know how to do.
It's hard for them to snap out of it because that entire platform, 98% of that platform is very pro-commie, pro-progressive. I mean, pro-Russia, pro-North Korea. Okay.
Right.
What do you like? What like? To me, if I'm having a conversation with you and you're telling me that you're a communist, it doesn't make any sense to me because you're living in a capitalist free market country, supposedly.
They'll say this is not that what the communists that you experienced, your ancestors and your parents experienced was not real communism. That's always their fucking argument.
So I would say, what communism? What example can you give me?
They can't give you example because they say every model of communism from Russia to Cuba to those in the Congo are not the right kind of communism. They always move the fucking goalposts. I've actually have arguments with these people.
And we all think we're right. We all think that our position is right, but the difference between us and them, and Pia, I would love for you to go back and watch some of these debates. Yeah, I think I'm right. I think I'm right in my positions. But like Tree had a moment with you earlier where she was like, wait a minute, that's actually a better way of thinking. And she shifted her mind. She's fluid like that. But we're all, pretty much stuck in our ways. We have our beliefs. But the difference between us and them is they're so disingenuous in the way they debate. They will scream over you. They don't give a shit. They don't want to debate. They want to rule over you. It's all a power struggle to them. For us, we have our facts. For them, they have their emotions. So it's just a totally different form of debate. It's not debate at all.
It's not debate. It's not even a real belief.
No, it's not.
A belief in communism, because if you had a real belief in the system that you claim you are or you're part of or you want to be a part of, you would actually debate the communist way. I mean, I've seen communist debate, but you can't. But it's void for me because you're not living in a communist state. You're able to say what you say because you live in a free capitalistic republic.
The thing about it is that them being on Twitch asking for subscribers to pay them just proves that they're just basically big hypocrites. They're like, well, I need to basically make some kind of money in order to spread my message. I was like, well, why aren't you out there living in a commune spreading your message by handing out fucking flyers? You know what I'm saying?
Tree, I don't understand. You said that communists are hypocrites. Isn't that a double negative?
I actually don't think that they understand what it is that they're talking about. That's what I think.
They're overprivileged white and blacks. There's some blacks there too.
Latinos, and Asian.
Wow.
Yeah, they're just overprivileged. They're just
I don't think they
overprivileged.
understand. I don't think this is about debate or about that. They just don't understand what it is that they're talking about. I
True.
can't grasp it. Because if you understood it, first of all, you probably wouldn't be communist. If you truly understood it.
True.
If you understood your position in the world, claiming you're a communist while you're driving Lexus. Like, you know what I mean?
Here's my analysis of this. If you want to look at the people that are the ugliest, the most degenerate, the most outcast individuals, these are the people who are on Twitch. And they all embrace this ideology to make themselves feel good. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it is. Like, these people are hideous. Not all, 95% of them. And this is why they go through these type of labels. This is the reason why they like these authoritative rules. These are the people that no one wants to fuck them.
Remember when Big Bad Bear Jew, BJ, he's like this like really attractive, like bulked up dude, really, I mean, I'm not trying to be our cat's gay.
No, he's buff and fine as
I mean, I don't say that way, but you don't have to listen.
He can subscribe to my channel.
Our cat's gay likes him. But this Ronnie Dario, this nasty little pale ass kid in a fucking furnitureless bedroom, this burnt out bedroom with a samurai sword, is calling BJ an incel. And then he can't get laid. And I'm sitting there like, what?
That was funny. Yeah, he did. I was like,
Shut up, Jupiter, take a step.
Are you serious? Do you know how much pussy this guy gets?
BJ makes me look like an incel. I do all right.
I think that was just projection, really. I was like, wait a minute. You calling BJ an incel? Really?
Maybe he was being ironic and just very bad at it.
No.
No, he's just being an idiot.
That's like me calling Hillary Clinton a nice grandma. Okay, come on. What the fuck?
I'm sure she makes some pretty sweet cookies.
The fuck if I eat them goddamn cookies? All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up, and I'm gonna have everybody give their final words. And by the way, those of you who are watching in the chat right now, everyone's links are in the description box right now. I actually, I saw some of you guys saying, how can I get to PA's channel? How can I get to Jupiter, Mo, Cats, saying Rafiq, all of their links are in the description box below. So go ahead and check them out. So let's go ahead and start off with Rafiq. Rafiq, go ahead and give your closing arguments and sign on out.
Okay. Cuties is really horrible, and I think it's a push to try to normalize pedophilia. And I'm glad it got a 0.05 rating on Megacritics. And communism sucks. And you can find me on social media at Instagram and on Twitter.
All right. And Political Avenger, go ahead, your turn.
Regarding what we just talked about?
Yeah, you can give your final words and then tell everybody where they can find you.
Final thoughts.
I think the cutie situation is just content for that community. Hiding behind them actually exposing it. I think it's just to put it out there so people can enjoy it. If not, they wouldn't have presented it the way they did. So, and it's for the culture up in Europe right now, which is accepted. Yeah. It's accepted of that type of situation.
Yes.
You can reach me, or you can reach me. You can follow me at Twitter, Political Avenger, or at YouTube, Political Avenger, or at Facebook, Political Avenger.
All right. And Cats with his cute cat who's basically been entertaining me and all of the chat.
White
that cat is so spoiled and so loving. You know what I'm saying? It was like, hold me, daddy, hold me. It was like
she literally you can't see it. She climbs up my leg. If I try to stop her, like she just goes up anyway. So that's why I just have to hold. So yeah, this is Freya. You can subscribe to her on Instagram. No, I'm not that kind of gay, I promise. Yeah, the whole pedophile situation is gross and depressing because they have been scarily successful at rebranding themselves. Like on Twitter, there's a whole thing of the MAPS, the minor attracted persons, as one of the worst rebrandings of, or I should say the best rebranding of the worst people ever. They're trying to graft themselves onto the LGBT community. See, she can't take it. She's too upset by the Freya was triggered. She hates pedos just as much as I do. But yeah, do not give into this. Don't think like it's just a movie. It's like, yeah, it's a movie for freaking rapists and people that want to be rapists of children. So don't accept it. I don't care what your culture is, what your background is. Children are off limits. That's it. And on that happy note, I'm our cat's gay ? Like you can find me on YouTube or Twitter, but that's basically the only place I live.
All right. Thank you so much for coming. And Maurice, go ahead, give your final thoughts and let everybody know. And your panel tomorrow is 10 o'clock. If you want to check out his panel, guys, the link is available in the description box below to his YouTube channel. Go ahead and take it away, Maurice.
Okay. Yeah, I go on my panel tomorrow because I'm kind of triggered because some dude said something about my gay son, but that's another story. I'm gonna come on there tomorrow.
Get him.
I'm cussing the back of their ass out tomorrow. I'm for raising the gay son, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
But anyway, you got that movie. What's the name of that movie? See, I got a brain freeze.
Who, Cutie?
Cutie, right? Mm-hmm. You got the new movie Cutie, right? That shit been happening. It's a movie that I saw as a kid called Little Daughters. When Brooke Shield was fucking 12 years old with a flat chest. Same shit.
Wait a minute. You are so right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Little Darling. Look at that shit. Flat chested. And she said she old enough to fuck. Look at that shit. The movie's not in the store no more.
I forgot about that movie.
I know. My stepdad just
Don't forget Caligula.
It's called Little Darlings.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was the 70s and 80s, no?
And you'll see the same shit a different day.
Wow.
Look at the Blue Lagoon. The Blue Lagoon. Look at this shit. Come on, you.
Oh, the producer, right? Carly's a pedophile.
Oh, I like the Blue Lagoon.
That's a story right there. I'm talking about Little Darlings. Purple came out.
Actually, I left on that scene. The Little Darlings. When I say left, we saw it on VHS, and I was like, "Oh no!" And I refused to watch it from then on out. So yeah, but I forgot all about it. So
yeah, so much fresh in my memory. So remember, and nothing new under the sun. So I'm done. I still have to say next.
And last but not least, Jupiter, go ahead and give your final words and shout out your channel as well, which is also available in the description box.
Channel is Jupiter. Twitter is Jupiter _ because some dumb bitch who hasn't been on Twitter for 7 years stole my name. That's okay. I just want to say this is I have, in my opinion, the greatest audience on earth, and you guys in this audience really come close. The only reason I get through the debate when Tree hosts them on Twitch and on YouTube is because this audience is gangster as fuck, and Hopefully, the next time I see you guys will be on one of these. But if it's on one of the debates, please.
No, because you on the next debate on Twitch.
So guys, be there for your boy because I cannot stand these motherfuckers. I need clutches because I can't stand these motherfuckers.
Yeah, see, that's the reason why I had the YouTube one, because today instead of next Saturday, because I have to be prepared for that one that's coming up in 2 Sundays from now. So not this Sunday, but the Sunday after next will be the one on Twitch. And so I will bring you all back next month for a YouTube one. So I'm gonna keep this going every month. You know what I'm saying?
And Tree literally made these Saturday night Treehouse meetings just to keep me and Rafiq sane, because you don't know what these people put us through. But God bless, really, all of you. You are fantastic. One of the coolest audiences on earth.
All right, and as always, I love having you guys here. Diverse opinions, really good, and I like how the conversation just flows to other areas, and I let it go there because we go into other areas of dialogue that's very educational and informative to the audience. So I really like that as well. And then I'll bring it back, to our original discussion. So our panels include a lot of other topics, not just the one particular topic. So that was really good. And I want to thank you all for participating in this, and we'll definitely do this again next month. As always, you'll get a email invite from me if you can make it, and I will more likely be happy to have you on. So I'm Tree, guys, as you all know. My entire opinion in reference to what we have discussed, especially when it comes to cuties, is that be mindful of your children, watch what they do, educate them, and let them know the people who are out to manipulate their minds. My godchildren, I had to ask the permission of their parents, but I had to tell them the techniques that pedophiles use to lure them in. And so, and I just make my godchildren more aware of the predators that are out there to do them harm. And so, and that's go for online stuff as well as stuff that they may encounter in person. And thank God that they all are active in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So, I want to make sure they get even physically protect themselves as possible. So that's my thing. Just teach your children how to protect themselves from every kind of situation. And because we have people that are going to up the antics, and you want to make sure that you can make sure they're very prepared. So with that being said, guys, I want to thank you all for coming. Thank everybody who is in the chat. Thank you all for the super chats. I really appreciate that. And the audience, be sure to subscribe or follow on Twitter. All of these people here on this panel, the description, I got their links in the bottom below. And we'll be back next month, which is the month before the election. So I'm sure we're going to have a lot of good, juicy conversations to have during that time. Okay. So with that being said, say goodbye, everybody.
Holla.
Bye.
Yes.
Later.